Your writing and podcasts take us from the Vikings to the Normans to Crusades to the collapse of the East Roman Empire, also known as the Byzantine Empire. There's a thread, I think, that connects the Vikings through all of it. So let's start at the beginning. Let's start with the Vikings. So the age of the Vikings was intense and violent, as you write about, often dated from 793 AD to 1066 AD. It lasted less than 3 centuries. So the start is often dated to June 8th, 793. What happened on June 8th, 793?
In June of 793, a group of Vikings, probably originating from Norway, arrived at the holy island of Lindisfarne, which was a monastic community, and they essentially slaughtered everyone, burned a couple of buildings, and grabbed everything that had any value and left. And that was the first Viking raid that came in force. And I do think Lindisfarne is a good beginning date because the terror that it brought really signified what was to come for the next 2 to 3 centuries.
So the word of it has spread. Like there's a bunch of accounts, like the monk Alcuin wrote about this event in a letter to King Ethelred of Northumbria. Quote, "It is nearly 350 years that we and our fathers have inhabited this most lovely land, and never before has such terror appeared in Britain as we have now suffered from a pagan race, nor was it thought that such an inroad from the sea could be made." What made this race so psychologically devastating to this monk and to many of the monks on the island, and then to all of Britain?
That's a great quote. Alcuin was not just a regular scholar. He was Charlemagne's favorite scholar, and he is largely responsible, as much as one person can be, for the Carolingian Renaissance that had done so much to elevate the early medieval world. In fact, the spaces we have, the punctuation we have, spaces between words are likely a result of Alcuin's work. He was an extremely literate man, and you can hear the terror creeping into that. Um, and part of that has to do with monastic communities, the church, and what they thought a monastic community was. So the church was viewed as a sacred place. Everyone in Europe, everyone in quotes, is nominally Christian, and the church is an area of safety. It's a literal ark from the troubles of the world that you can flee to. I believe there are even rules in England, for example, that if you had killed someone, you could flee to a church, and the civil authorities were not allowed to enter for up to 40 days. So you could have sanctuary there. And to violate this would have been the worst possible offense you could have given, which is why, Thomas Becket's murder is so horrible in England. And the monks had dedicated themselves to a life of studying the Bible, to copying scriptures, to prayer, to removing themselves literally from the temptations of the world. And so they would seek monasteries that were remote. And the most remote locations you could find were islands in the North Atlantic because it's just so difficult to get there. So the ocean was considered a place of safety, not sailing on the ocean, but these islands were literal havens of peace and security and closeness to God. And so the fact that the Vikings hit this place, of all places you could hit, was the worst, the most terrifying kind of offense against medieval sensibilities.
So there's a kind of line that you understand you don't cross. Like everybody agrees.
That's
It's
right.
the kind of thing that there's a social contract that most societies, most civilizations sign. There's a line that we don't cross. Let the scholars do their scholarly work. That's one line. The other line is more kind of from a military perspective, from a mobility perspective. You just assume the sea is not a place from which a threat could come, especially
exactly
the
right.
north.
Yeah.
Sort of your conception of the world is shattered by, one, the brutality that can come, two, that the sea can bring a threat, and three, that you don't give a damn about any of the lines that we as a society, as a Christian society, have established.
That's exactly right. I mean, even Alcuin, I think he writes a little later on that the dead were left as dung in the streets. So he's describing dead monks as literal dung in the streets. And who would do this to men of God? Inhuman monsters.
So who were they, the Vikings coming from the north? How did they think of the violence that they were doing?
And that's a very good question and it brings up a central problem of looking at the Vikings, which is the story is almost always told from somebody else's perspective, largely from the pens of those they're attacking. So they're not going to come across well. They're often portrayed as demonic and inhuman. The Vikings themselves, though, as much as we can piece together from archaeology, from the stories they wrote later. But that was another problem. Their written alphabet, the runes, it was mostly used for spells, name your sword, things like that, curse someone, but it wasn't really useful for writing long poetry or literature. So the only Norse literature we have comes at the end of the age when they had adopted the Latin alphabet. So you can almost never see the Vikings in their own words as they saw themselves. But we can piece certain things together. Most importantly, Viking was not their day job. They were mostly merchants and farmers, mostly farmers, who lived in little bays called viks in Old Norse, which is probably where we get the word Viking from. One other note about how hard it is to tease apart what's happening here is the English and the Frankish and the Irish writers all call them Danes, no matter where they came from. They didn't stop to ask, now, excuse me, are you from Norway or are you from... So they're all called Danes or pagans, heathen or Northmen. So this is not very helpful in figuring out where they came from. The language was interchangeable. Old Norse was spoken in all three of those Scandinavian countries. But living in the north, so far up near the Arctic Circle, that's at the very limit of where technology of the time could allow humans to survive. And that kind of harsh climate bred, I think, very hard people. Mercy was not a quality they seemed to favor, value. There's a very famous story of a Swedish Viking putting a sword in the crib of his newborn son and saying, "May you have nothing in this life but what you can gain with this." I mean, I can't imagine doing that. To any of my children, putting a gun in the crib, or I'd be carted away. But I think that kind of underscores the kind of violent life you could expect as a Viking. I mean, strength was valued more than anything else.
So the understanding of the world is harsh, and that strength is the way you must face that world. So when you have those people, especially the ones that self-select to get on a boat to face the ocean with all the uncertainty, that results in the kind of brutality that we got to see.
I think so. I mean, the way they would build their ships, they were clinker built, so they were overlaid like planks overlaying. So they were undecked as well, and so they'd have tents. So can you imagine crossing the Atlantic, the northern Atlantic, with these huge waves splashing over, with an inch of oak between you and the ocean? I mean, the amount of bravery that must have taken to undergo is astounding. Plus, they didn't have a compass. They navigated by, where's the sun? Where are the stars? What are there birds in the sky? Do I see different color of water? Do I see leaves floating? I mean, it's terrible for traveling 2,000 miles. That's not great. So it's kind of an intrepidness to them that I think is part of the reason why they're so fascinating to us in our more or less sanitized world. That this incredible courage to do this, and some horror at what they did on the other end when they arrived. But we'll talk a little bit more about their religion. But they do not view the Christian God in particularly flattering terms. I mean, to them, he's a weak God who won't protect his adherents, and they can just come in and plunder as they. I mean, they'll. One Viking famously says, "On land, I'm a Christian. When I'm on the sea, I worship Thor." It was very much the kind of pragmatic take that the Vikings had.
Yeah, they're gods, and they have many, but Odin and Thor are pretty hardcore gods. So everything, just their whole philosophy on life is pretty hardcore. Probably some of the toughest humans to have ever lived.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, their gods are horrifying. They're polytheistic. There was no universally accepted head god. I think Marvel has also led people astray in this.